The Prologue by Anne Bradstreet, read for LibriVox.org by Darrell Frierson. To sing of wars, of captains and of kings, of cities founded, commonwealths begun. For my mean pen are two superior things, or how they all or each their dates have run. That poets and historians set these forth, my obscure lines shall not so dim their worth. But when my wandering eyes and envious heart great Barter's sugar lines do but read o'er, full I do grudge the muses did not part twixt him and me that overfluent store. A Bartist can do what a Bartist will, but simple I according to my skill. From schoolboys' tongues no rhetoric we expect, nor yet a sweet consort from broken strings, nor a perfect beauty wears a main defect. My foolish broken blemished muse so sings, and this to man, alas, no art is able, 'cause nature made it so irreparable. Nor can I, like the fluent sweet-tongued Greek, who lisped at first and future speaks plain. By art he gladly found what he did seek, a full requital of his striving pain. Art can do much, but this maxim's most sure, a weaker wounded brain admits no cure. I am obnoxious to each carping tongue, who says my hand a needle better fits. A poet's pen I'll scorn I should thus wrong, for such despite they cast on female wits. If what I do prove well, it won't advance. The sayest Storlings or else by chance. But sure the antique Greeks were far more mild, else of our sex, why fain they those nine. And poesy made Calliope's own child. So amongst the rest they placed the arts divine, but this week knot they will full soon untie. The Greeks did not, but play the fools and lie. Let Greeks be Greeks and women what they are. Men have precedency and still excel. It is but vain unjustly to wage war. Men can do best, and women know it well. Permanence in all, and each is yours. Yet grant some small acknowledgement for ours. And O ye high-fawned quills that soar the sky, and ever with your praise still catch your praise. If ever you're dying these lowly lines your eye, give thyme or parsley reef, I ask no bays. This mean and unrefined ore of mine will make your glistening gold, but more to shine. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Author to Her Book by Anne Bradstreet. Read for LibriVox.org by Rosaida de Jesus. Thou ill-formed offspring of my feeble brain, who after birth this by my side remain, till snatched from thence by friends less wise than true, who thee abroad exposed to public view. May thee in rocks holding to thy press to trush, where errors were not listened, O my judge. At thy return my blushing was not small, my rambling brat in print should mother call. I cast thee by as one unfit for light. Thy visage was so irksome in my sight. Yet be my own at length affection without blemishes, amen. If so I could, I washed thy face, but more defects I saw. And rubbing off a spot still made it flawed. I stretched thy joint to make thee even fit, yet still thou rust more humbling than is meet. In better dress to trim thy was my mind, but none save homespun cloth at the house I find. In this array months vulgar, mind thou's rum. In critics' hands beware thou dost not come, and take thy way where yet thou art not known. If for thy father asked, say thou hast none, and for thy mother she alas is poor, which caused her thus to send thee out of door. End of poem. This record is in the public domain.
The Poetess's Hasty Resolution by Margaret Cavendish. Read for LibriVox.org by Bianca Thompson. Reading my verses, I like them so well. Self-love did make my judgment to rebel. Thinking them so good, I thought more to write. considering not how others would them like. I writ so fast, I thought if I lived long, a pyramid of fame to build thereon. Reason observing which way I was bent, did stay my hand, and ask me what I meant. Will you, said she, thus waste your time in vain, on that which in the world small praise shall gain? For shame leave off, said she, the printer spare, he'll lose by your ill poetry, I fear. Besides, the world hath already such a weight of useless books, as it is overfraught. Then pity take, do the world a good turn, and all you write cast in the fire, and burn. Angry I was, and reason struck away, when I did hear what she to me did say. Then all in haste I to the press it sent, fear and persuasion might my book prevent. But now 'tis done, with grief repent do I, hang down my head with shame, blush, sigh, and cry. Take pity, and my drooping spirits raise, wipe off my tears with handkerchiefs of praise. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Elizabeth Swanson, September 21st, 2017. To the fair Clarinda, who made love to me, imagined more than woman, by Aphra Behn. Fair lovely maid, or if that title be too weak, too feminine for nobler thee, permit a name that more approaches truth, and let me call thee lovely, charming youth. This last will justify my soft complaint, while that may serve to lessen my constraint. And without blushes I the youth pursue, when so much beauteous woman is in view. Against thy charms we struggle, but in vain. With thy diluting form thou givest pain. While the bright nymph betrays us to the swain, in pity to our sex sure thou wert sent, that we may love and yet be innocent. For sure no crime with thee we can commit, or if we should, thy form excuses it. For who that gathers fairest flowers believes a snake lies hidden beneath the fragrant leaves. Thou beauteous wonder of a different kind, soft chorus with the dear Alexis joined. Whene'er the manly part of thee would plead, thou tempts us with the image of the maid. When we the noblest passions do extend, the love to Hermes, Aphrodite the friend. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Disappointment by Aphra Behn. Read for LibriVox.org by Maria Rebello. One day the amorous Lysander by an impatient passion swayed, surprised fair Chloris that loved maid, who could defend herself no longer. All things did with his love conspire. The gilded planet of the day, in his gay chariot drawn by fire, was now defending to the sea, and left no light to guide the world, but what from Chloris' brighter eyes was hurled. In a lone thicket made for love, silent as yielding maids consent, she with a charming languishment permits his force, yet gently strove. Her hands his bosom softly meet, but not to put him back designed, rather to draw him on inclined, whilst he lay trembling at her feet. Resistance distillate to shew, she wants the power to say, what do you do? Her bright eyes sweat, and yet severe, where love and shame confusedly strive, fresh vigor to Lysander give, and whispering softly in his ear, she cried, cease your vain desire, or I'll call out, what would you do? My dear honor, even to you, I must not give, retire, or take that life whose chiefest part I gave to you, with the conquest of my heart. But he, as much unused to fear, as he was capable of love, the blessed minutes to improve, kisses her lips, her neck, her hair, each touch her new desires alarms, her burning trembling hand he pressed upon her smelting snowy breast. While she lay panting in his arms, all her unguarded beauties lay the spoils and trophies of the enemy. And now, without respect or fear, he seeks the objects of his vows. His love no modesty allows, by swift degrees advancing where his daring hand that altar seized. Where gods of love do sacrifice, the awful throne, that paradise, where rage is tamed and anger pleased, that living fountain, from whose trills the melted soul in liquid drops distills. Her balmy lips encountering his, their bodies the souls are joined, where both in transports were confined, extend themselves upon the moss. Chloris, half dead and breathless, lay. Her eyes appeared like humid light, such as divides the day and night, or falling stars, whose fires decay. And now no signs of life she shows, but what in short breaths sighs, returns, and goes. He saw how at her length she lay. He saw her rising bosom bare, her loosened robes, through which appear a shape designed for love and play. Abandoned by her pride and shame, she does her softest sweets dispense, offering her virgin innocence, a victim to love's sacred flame, whilst the ravished shepherd lies, unable to perform the sacrifice. Ready to taste 1,000 joys, the too transported hapless swain found the vast pleasure turned to pain, pleasure which too much love destroys. The willing garments by he laid, and heaven all up open to his view. Mad to possess, himself he threw on the defenseless lovely maid. But oh, what envious gods conspired to snatch his power, yet live him the desire. Nature's support, without whose aid she can no humane being give, itself now wants the art to live. Faintness and slackened nerves invade. In vain the enraged youth essayed to call his fleeting vigor back. No motion 'twill from the motion take. Excess of love his love betrayed. In vain he toils, in vain commands. This insensible fell weeping in his hands. And this so amorous cruel strife, where love and fate were too severe, the poor Lysander in despair renounced his reason with his life. Now all the brisk and active fire that should the nobler part inflame, unactive, frigid, dull became, and left no spark for a new desire. Not all her naked charms could move, or calm that rage that had debauched his love. Chloris, returning from the trance which love and soft desire had bred, her timorous hand she gently laid, or guided by design or chance, upon the fabulous Priapus, that potent god as poets feign. But never did young shepherdess, gathering a fern upon the plain, more nimbly draw her fingers back, finding beneath the verdant leaves a snake. Then Chloris her fair hand withdrew, finding that god of her desires disarmed all his powerful fires, and cold as flowers bathed in the morning dew. Who can the nymph's confusion guess? The blood forsook the kinder place, and strewed with blushes all her face, which both disdain and shame express, and from Lysander's arms she fled, leaving him fainting in the gloomy bed. Like the lightning through the grove she hies, and Daphne from the Delphic god, no print upon the grassy road she leaves, to instruct pursuing eyes. The wind that wantoned in her hair, and with her ruffled garments played, discovered in the flying maid all that the gods are made of fair. So Venus, when her love was slain, with fear or haste flew o'er the fatal plain. The nymph's resentments none but I can well imagine and condole, but none can guess Lysander's soul, but those who swayed his destiny. His silent griefs swell up to storms, and not one god his fury spares. He crossed his birth, his fate, his stars, but more the shepherdess's charms, whose soft bewitching influence had damned him to the hell of impotence. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To my lord Colrane, in answer to his complemental verses sent me under the name of Cleanor, by Killigrew. Read for LibriVox.org, by Nomi Bayamok. Long my dull muse in heavy slumbers lay, indulging sloth, and to soft ease gave away her fill of rest, resolving to enjoy, or fancying little worthy her employ. When noble Cleanor's obliging strains her, the neglected lyre, to tune constrains. Confused at first, she raised her drowsy head, pondered a while, then pleased forsook her bed. Surveyed each line with fancy richly fraught, reread, and then revolved them in her thought. And can it be, she said, and can it be, that among the great ones I a poet see, the great ones who their ill-spent time divide twixt dangerous politics and formal pride, destructive vice expansive vanity, in worse ways yet, if worse there any be. Leave to inferiors the despised arts, let their retainers be the men of parts. But here with wonder and with joy I find, I'th noble born, a no less noble mind. One who on ancestors does not rely, for fame and merit as in title high. The severe goddess thus approved the lays, yet too much pleased, alas, with her own praise. But to vain pride my muse ceased to give place, vigils immortal numbers once did grace. A smothered gnat by high applause is shown, if undeserved the praiser's worth alone. Nor that you should have believed isn't always meant, 'tis often for instruction only sent. To praise men to amendment and display by its perfection where their weakness lay. This use of the applauding numbers make them, for example, not encomium take. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Rights of Women by Anna Barbauld. Read for LibriVox.org by Sarah Mustafa. The Rights of Woman. Yes, injured woman, rise, assert thy right. Woman, too long degraded, scorned, oppressed, O born to rule in partial laws despite, resume thy native empire over the breast. Go forth, arrayed in panoply divine, that angel pureness which admits no stain. Go, bid proud man his boasted rule resign, and kiss the golden scepter of thy reign. Go, gird thyself with grace, collect thy store of bright artillery glancing from afar, soft melting tones thy thundering cannons roar, blushes and fears thy magazine of war. Thy rights are empire, urge no meaner claim, felt, not defined, and if debated, lost. Like sacred mysteries, which withheld from fame, shunning discussion, are revered the most. Try all that wit and art suggest to bend of thy imperial foe the stubborn knee. Make treacherous man thy subject, not thy friend. Thou mayst command, but never canst be free. Awe the licentious and restrain the rude, soften the sullen, clear the cloudy brow. Be more than prince's gifts, thy favor sued. She hazards all, who will the least allow. But hope not, courted idol of mankind, on this proud eminence secure to stay, subduing and subdued, thou soon shalt find thy coldness soften and thy pride give way. Then, abandon each ambitious thought, conquest or rule thy heart shall feebly move, in nature's school by her soft maxims taught, that separate rights are lost in mutual love. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.